What's going on, guys? John with MAXX-D Trailers here, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about electric over hydraulic brakes. We've got Brad here with Hydrapro, and he's a professional, so let's get into it. So tell me, Brad, why would somebody want hydraulic brakes over just standard electric brakes?
Hydraulic brakes are more powerful than an electric brake, and they're easier to maintain. So you get a longer life and a better brake out of a hydraulic brake than you do an electric brake.
If electric brakes were better, they'd be used on pickup trucks too, right?
That's right. If electric brakes was the best brake there is, all of our vehicles would have those. The proportional control of the brakes between the tow vehicle and the trailer is paramount. It's very important, because if you get the truck trying to stop the trailer trying to stop the truck, you get unequal braking, and that can, in slick situations, that can equal a jackknife.
Right. Something
very serious. Or you could get a place where your trailer leaves its lane because of wheel lockup. So you want a good, strong brake, but you want control.
So why would somebody want this actuator over others or competitors?
Our brake actuator is the most updated, upgraded, most compatible electric over hydraulic brake actuator you can buy. The biggest difference, the proportional brake software that we include in our actuator provides a smoother brake application, holds more pressure at less amperage, and makes stopping less scary. Basically, the hydraulic brakes on the trailer are working at the same pressures that the hydraulic brakes on the truck are working, and that makes for a smooth, seamless brake application, which equals less driver fatigue. When you're loaded heavy, somebody pulls out in front of you and you have a panic stop, you want to make sure that the brakes on the trailer are going to hit with the right force.
Right, you don't want them to lock up.
You don't want them to lock up. You don't want too much, but you don't want too little. So proportionality is super important when you're talking about trailer brake systems.
So Brad, tell me some of the differentiators between Hydrapro and some of the other guys.
One of the differentiators between Hydrapro and other actuators is we use a larger motor. We have our own design pump, and our actuator uses a separate hydraulic fluid reservoir that is not part of the actual housing. It's a separate piece, and our circuitry is mounted up above that reservoir. So if there ever was a leak in the unit, it's not going to get to the circuit board. And that's what kills so many others, is their circuit board is underneath their reservoir. So if there's a leak, the brake fluid eats the circuit board up. So the design of our actuator, the components of our actuator, and the software that's in our actuator just adds up to a better brake application.
That's awesome, Brad. How is Hydrapro actuators compatible with newer trucks?
Our actuator actually has the compatibility adapter built in, and this is important because newer trucks utilize a function to where the vehicle sends a ping down the line to check to see what kind of receiver is there for that amperage. And so with that compatibility adapter, you're almost guaranteed instant compatibility with your new truck. You will have some trucks, even with built-in brake controls, that you may still have to put an aftermarket actuator in. And this is across the board. Anybody's actuator is the same as far as this. The tow vehicle has to be compatible with the actuator. If you have a vehicle that does not have the ability to be switched from electric brake to electric over hydraulic, or it may say EOH, if your truck doesn't have that capability, you will need to get an aftermarket controller installed in your truck. And it's no different than your truck comes with a receiver hitch, but you still have to go buy the ball mount and the hitch ball and the pin and all. You have to make your truck ready to tow. The dealers need to make sure that whoever is buying this MAXX-D trailer with this actuator has a tow vehicle that is compatible with electric over hydraulic brakes.
And you mentioned earlier that the brakes would still work with just the electric function, but it would cause your system or your circuit to burn out quicker? How does that work?
So electric over hydraulic brakes utilize a relay for the power to the motor. New vehicles utilize control modules that are constantly checking for amperage, continuity, making sure there's a trailer back there. If your truck is set to electric brake and you tow this trailer, the brakes will still work, but eventually every 4 seconds that truck is pinging that relay, and there's a contact in there. That relay is contacting every 4 seconds. Everything has a limited service life.
Right.
You don't want to limit the service life of your actuator by towing it with an incompatible brake controller.
Something we hear about all the time with electric over hydraulic brakes is the lag between hitting your brake pedal and your brakes engaging. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yes, there are several factors that affect that lag. The placement of the actuator on the trailer is very influential in the amount of lag you have between brake application, and feel it in the seat of your pants. So mounting your actuator back here by the axles like you guys do, that severely reduces the amount of lag between application and feel it in the seat of your pants. What we also do is our proprietary pump, our larger motor, we get to 1,000 PSI in 0.118 seconds. That's very little lag. So in terms of other actuators, we beat them hands down to 1,000 PSI. And so getting the brake application when you need it is of paramount importance, and it also puts the drivers at ease, knowing their brakes are going to come on when they expect them to come on.
The lag has been a big deal for many customers. We hear this all the time.
And like anything, the evolution of a product, someone who's constantly improving their product, this is the most upgraded electric over hydraulic brake actuator you can buy today. That's kind of same with MAXX-D. You guys are constantly improving your product, constantly innovating new products. And together with a Hydrapro actuator, you've got the best working, best looking trailer that you can buy. And to me, it's peas and carrots. I mean, they just go together.
Of course.
So
of course.
we like our brakes, we like them strong, we like them now.
So what is the importance of the wiring or the harness that's powering this brake actuator?
It is of paramount importance that the actuator receives nominal amperage from the tow vehicle. This is done by making sure that you have adequate gauge wiring feeding the actuator. Small wiring creates unnecessary heat, which it directly affects the lifespan of the motor. Heat is the killer of a 12-volt electric motor. And so in order to combat that, you guys use sufficient amperage wire in your molded harnesses, sealed harnesses, to allow this bigger motor to operate faster, easier, and cooler than it would with smaller wire feeding it. The smaller wire, when it creates that amp drop, causes arcing in the armature area of the motor, which severely limits the life of that motor. So it is super important that you guys look at the wiring on a trailer before you buy it. If you're buying electric over hydraulic, look at how it's wired up. Ask questions at the dealership. Make sure you're getting what you need. It's not going to leave you stranded on the side of the road.
100%. So let's say you're sitting at a railroad crossing or pedestrians, whatever, and you're sitting on your brakes. Is your actuator going to be running the whole time?
So that's the beauty of proportional software in our brake actuator. The controllers on the new trucks under 10 miles an hour won't even send a signal to the actuator. And it's just for that. If you're sitting at a mile-long railroad crossing waiting for a train to come by and you're using your truck brakes to just hold it in position, some actuators that don't have proportional braking technology will sit there and run and run and run, and it creates a ton of heat. It's detrimental. Because proportional braking senses when you need brakes, when you don't. It uses the brake controller in the truck to trigger the actuator, but the proportional braking technology that's in this circuit board is the lifesaver. And that's the reason our actuators last 3 times longer than most, because this thing knows when you need brakes, knows when you don't need brakes, and knows how hard you need brakes. Because of that, your compatibility with this actuator on most trucks is above and beyond other actuators.
So would you say it's still better, let's say you're waiting at a railroad crossing, would you say it's still better to just leave it in park? Let's just say your truck is a little bit older.
A lot of people do, and I've seen it and done it myself. I've put it in park to wait, and then subconsciously my brake pedal foot goes on the brake pedal, and I'm holding the thing even though I'm in park. It's just a human response. So in order to protect the unit from that, from unwanted application basically, proportional braking technology is saving the day.
So there you have it, guys. If you guys have any questions, need additional information, go visit their website, hydraprousa.com. Brad, it's awesome having you.
Glad to be here.
Always a pleasure, and we'll see you guys next time.